Shortly after I came out as a trans woman, I became worried that women wouldn't accept me, not because I'm trans, but because I'm hot.
Today, once again, we'll enter the baffling world of the confused men in dresses who think that if they grow their hair a bit longer and stuff some socks down a bra, magically that makes them women. Now, I know the vast majority of trans people are just trying to live their lives, and if that's you and you're not hurting anyone else, I wish you the very best. But on this channel, I talk about what I refer to as the TQ cult, the real hardliners, the people who think their feelings are more important than facts, who demand the rest of us deny the reality coming in through our eyes that men cannot be women. And I'm in the camp that if you have a man who thinks he's a woman or a woman who thinks she's a man, whatever else is going on there, I think there's probably some underlying mental health problems. So should someone with mental health problems be able to do any job?
About coming out as trans, and about some of the hardships that I'd gone through, and about some of the some of my thoughts and my feelings. And holy goodness me, that went viral. It went viral beyond belief. Every single tabloid in the UK picked it up. Then it was picked up across tabloids across Europe. Then it was picked up by news outlets and media in the Far East and India. And it just went and went and it went. Because of the reactions that we'd had, because of just the sea of hate and the sea of this person is a freak, this person is a fetishist, this person is a danger to women, this person is a danger...
A danger to women. Well, mate, first of all, trans women statistically are much more likely to be sex offenders, and secondly, you're a serving member of the British Police Service, and their record on taking care of women and girls isn't very good. Disturbingly though, the British Transport Police have now announced that their trans constables, sergeants, whatever, trans officers, a man identifying as a woman, can now strip search female prisoners or women in custody. Now, first of all, for a woman to be arrested, it's fairly likely she'll have mental health problems, although not as severe as the person we've just seen, and or other issues. So putting a vulnerable woman in a cell to be stripped naked by a cross-dressing pervert, that is state-sanctioned sexual assault, and it's happening right now here in the UK. And it's taxpayers' money paying for it. And I bet if the woman complains, if she says the woman searching me clearly has an erection, that'll be a fucking hate crime. In my mind, anyone who doesn't understand the very basic logic that men cannot be women, if you're born with a Y, you're always a guy, should not be a serving police officer. He can't enforce and uphold the laws of the land if he doesn't understand the basic laws of fucking reality. Anyway, let's move on to some more extremely convincing and not at all misogynistic trans women.
I think if every trans woman who is arguing on TikTok Live currently about whether or not trans women are valid in female spaces just went into a woman's bathroom, peed standing up, looked at a turf while walking out, and said fucking cry about it, we'd live in a better world.
Generally speaking, women don't piss standing up without getting their shoes wet, like about 30% of us men can do. But the glee that misogynistic bastard is taking from making a woman feel unsafe in what's meant to be a female-only safe space is utterly disgusting, and maybe the turf can do nothing about it. But when her husband walks in 2 minutes later and smashes his fucking teeth out, he won't be quite as chipper. Now, he doesn't look like a woman. He looks like a cartoon character drawn by a particularly disturbed young child. And we see again and again with the TQ cult, he doesn't want to be treated as a woman, he wants to be treated better than a woman. It's a disgusting double standard. And because he's a fucking ugly bastard, I'm guessing that he's been an incel for a long time and has now decided to be a trans woman because every other woman has rejected him. Moving on.
I'm liberal, I just don't think trans women should be in women's sports, okay? Because, well, there's an obvious physical advantage. It's not fair. I don't think sports are very fair to begin with. There's physical advantages to being born a man. Muggsy Bogues is one of the shortest NBA players that ever was, yet he went toe-to-toe with Shaquille O'Neal just fine. A lot of people study Michael Phelps and how he won all those medals because of his really long wingspan against other men. Yeah, but men have more testosterone and they can't have children. Amber Miller ran the Chicago Marathon 9 months pregnant, and all women have varying levels of testosterone. Look, we have to draw the line somewhere, and Biological sex has to be one of them. So do we give intersex boxers their own league? Do we say Amin Khalif had too much high testosterone, even though she's born a biological woman? She is not a woman. I mean, look at her. She looks like a man. You sure about that? I'm more confused now than ever. It's actually not that confusing when you just don't see trans people as human beings. So why is the conversation always about trans women and never about trans men? It's almost like we just view women as frail and treat them as such and don't give them equal opportunities for training.
What a vile piece of shit that chap is. It's the old trans women in women's sports arguments, which has been debunked that many times. Because men and women compete in separate sports because we are different. Yet I guarantee that bloke there would take pure glee in stealing a trophy from a woman who deserved it. Because if we take, say, Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players of all time in the women's game, even at the peak of her fitness, she wouldn't qualify in the men's top 500. That doesn't mean she's worse. It means that men and women are different, hence we compete differently. The argument about Michael Phelps having very wide arms, yes, but he's still competing against other men, and it's not like he's had extra bits added on to his fucking arms. As for Khalif, the boxer, that's an interesting one because recently her earlier medical records have been released, and it turns out she has got a cock. And basketball, I don't know much about it, but I do know that even now, if Michael Jordan, at the age he is now, went into the WNBA, every fucking game he'd score about 5,000 points. And why is the debate never about trans men competing in men's sports? Because trans men are women. And if they go into something like a contact sport, there's a good chance they'll get absolutely annihilated. Sadly, I think the only way that the trans women in women's sports thing is going to end is when an actual woman gets killed. Using this fucker's logic, you shouldn't even have weight categories in boxing. Can I go into a boxing tournament competing against the under 5s? Because I'm fairly sure I would win. It's okay, I identify as a 3-year-old. Let's move on. Trans women are women. Let's see if you can tell the difference. Can you tell this person was born a man? Because, my God, she's a looker.
Hey, my fellow ladies out there. So, men think they own you. Take it from somebody that used to be a man. You got boobs. You got a vajayjay. Guess what, honey? You own them. Trust me, they want it. Make them earn it.
I can categorically state that whatever that thing has got to offer, I do not want it. And he didn't used to be a man. He still is a man, albeit a fucking ugly man. But boobs and a vajayjay. Once again, the TQ cult are reducing womanhood, femininity, just down to body parts, as if that's all that being a woman is. Mate, most women, unless they have a disability, birth defect, or an accident or illness, will have a uterus. So until they hit the menopause, they will have periods. That chap there will never have a period. Also, whatever the fuck he's got between his legs, it won't be a vagina. It'll be something out of a low-budget horror film. If women actually looked like that, the human race would die out within one generation. Now, despite what I said about reducing women down to body parts, as a straight man, I have a healthy interest in ladies' fun bags. Yet what were we just looking at? Does that chap think that women's breasts are attached on bungee cords or something? It looks like someone's granddad is having a very public nervous breakdown. And of course, he doesn't really think he's a woman. He's a cross-dressing fetishist. He has autogynephilia. He's a sick and twisted pervert. That's quite depressing, so let's have some comedy.
Okay, hello. Oh, that's my legal name, but I actually go by L. Oh, well, I don't see that on my chart. Well, I wrote it on the form right up top. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, Mr. What are we in for today? I've just had a sore throat for the last couple of weeks. Well, we don't want that. Yeah, no. Now, I see it says here that you are currently on estrogen. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Well, have you ever thought that might be the cause of your issue? No, I'm pretty positive that my estrogen has absolutely nothing to do with my throat. And why are you on this medication, may I ask? On estrogen? Mm-hmm. Well, I am a trans person. Oh, okay, well that's interesting. Now, which way are you? Well, my medical history should be all on your chart. Oh, there it is, you're a man. Okay. Let me just take a few notes here.
That shit goes on for another minute and a half. I've cut it short to save your own sanity. So, dead name. What he means is real name. And if he hasn't legally changed it, then that's on him. But in a medical setting, where a doctor will address him as being male, what's wrong with that? Because the made-up things don't work in hospitals. If a medical professional, a man or woman who spent 7 to 10 years training, cannot tell that the 6'5", 22-stone person is a man, I wouldn't trust them for any sort of medical procedure. And the thing about estrogen and sore throat, that's a relevant question, because that gentleman there is smashing himself full of a hormone that isn't meant to be in his body in those quantities. It will have a side effect. What a very, very strange chap. And also, putting on the squeaky voice isn't fooling anyone, even if you've had surgery.
Speaking for the first time after voice feminization surgery.
Hi. Oh my god. Hello. This is crazy.
I fully agree. That's crazy. Because I can do a voice as well, and I haven't had surgery. He doesn't really sound like a woman. He sounds like a man who's taken a cricket bat to his lob grenades. But to be fair, he's not hurting anyone, so good luck to him. There's one clip left to go. Don't watch this if you're eating.
However, I saw a couple coming out of the forest. They didn't seem to see me, but suddenly a cyclist passed by. And now, everyone seemed to be looking at me. My heart rate slowly increased as I took the turn off to where I wanted to go for a walk. I finished my look and closely watched the surroundings via the mirrors. Nothing was coming, and I stepped outside after a final check in the mirror. It felt great. I adjusted the camera.
So I thought that men just dressing as women could be creepy. But that is some Silence of the Lambs level shit going on there. A man not just dressing as a woman, but wearing fake skin. So he looks like a cheap sex doll that's become sentient, or a mannequin has wandered off out of a shop window. And doing it in public, where we can't see anything about him, that is so out there. What a vile image. No sleep for me tonight. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as ever, thanks for watching. So, a danger to women. Yes, because firstly, you're a British copper and their track record isn't very good when it comes to protecting women and girls. And secondly, you are a trans woman who statistically are far more likely to be fucking bollocks to it. I have questions. Chiefly, what the fuck is going on with that guy's hair? And I'm bald, but I'd rather have this than whatever that was. But the glee that bastard takes in fucking his lines up, argument about trans women having an unfair advantage in female sports, which of course they do, because if you're born male, your body develops very differently to if you're born female. Yet they peddle these same arguments out time and time again, even though we've got proof that trans women have massive... Oh, that could have been an easy joke, couldn't it? Actually, they don't. They've had them cut off. I think I must have missed the scene in Return of the Jedi where Jabba the Hutt starts dressing as a woman. That being said, as a young man watching Return of the Jedi, I was fucking bollocks to it. I think I've missed the scene in Return of the Jedi where Jabba the Hutt begins cross-dressing. That being said, as a younger man when I first saw the film, I was focused squarely on Carrie Fisher as slave Leia. Look, I'll just leave the fucking line out.